Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or are watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic so that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. As always, I like to give a huge shout out to all those who've already subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of you that have been rocking for me. Some of you from the beginning, others as recently as this week. I really appreciate all the love and one that you've given me. Now I have reached 230 subs. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media. And I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices. So, what I'm going to ask you to do is the following. You have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So, therefore, whenever I produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. Now, before we get into the discussion regarding the main topic, we're going to have another round of In My Words. Okay. Those of you who have been following me for almost 2 years know that I don't usually call out people for stupid behavior, okay? But in this case, I'm going to make an exception, okay? So my critique, my talking point will be on the Al show, okay? Now, for the last few months, he's been going on and on and on, talking smack about Gigi and Multi. Okay, I will appreciate. I can understand it if it wasn't for the fact that if you go into his platform, he still subscribed to them. Okay, now that's what I call hypocrisy in the first degree. Okay. And this fake outrage of his is getting kind of old, is getting kind of stale at this point. Okay. Now, he just recently did a stream a few minutes ago, which he accused Gigi and Multi of actually taking screenshots of his chat. Okay. And of course, immediately after the stream is over, guess what, folks? He put it in private. I wonder why. I guess he's afraid that if the stream was left alive on the air, people can look into it and question his integrity. Now, I get it. There are people that truly and sincerely do not like Gigi and Multi. I can understand that, okay? And I can respect it to a certain extent. I mean, there are other people who have big, deep issues with those two, okay? However, they do not devote the majority of their content talking about those two. You have several YouTube creators that, yes, they have issues with those two. However, they also devote the time and energy to produce content. Okay. So, L, your fake outrage is getting very old. And also regarding the fact that the YouTube creators has told these two to get out of the biracial spaces. Let me make this perfectly clear. Al, the no-show. You do not speak for me, and you do not speak for the people who appear on my platform, because there are other people that have been on my platform that do get along with Gigi and Multi and do support their channels. So stop the cap. Please stop the cap. And please, if enough with the fake outrage. Okay. The fact that you have Golden Goddess and multiracial movement on listed as being subscribed to them. That's called hypocrisy in the first degree. And of course, you would do the cowardly thing and private your stream. Why? Are you afraid of scrutiny? Are you afraid that people might actually take a look at your accusations and find out that it's false? Okay. If you don't like their content, fine. Do not consume their content. Okay. And please, try to develop content that you can get views. It seems like the only way that you can get views is attacking Gigi and Multi. Okay. Sorry, but not sorry. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to get into the main topic. Okay. So, as I stated before, the main topic for tonight is conflict resolution. Okay. So basically, it's kind of like, in an indirect way, a continuation of the stream that I did Tuesday, where we agreed to disagree. Tonight, we're going to be discussing how to resolve conflicts. Okay. And why am I having this discussion? Okay. Because first of all, truly, there are some people that do not know how to resolve conflicts. Okay. There are people who struggle with the concept. So what I'm going to try to do is bring up some information to share as far as how to resolve conflicts. Now, one thing we have to bear in mind that there's certain situations that need to be put in place in order to resolve conflicts. Number one, you have to have a desire to resolve a conflict. Okay. Most conflicts can be resolved if both parties have the initial desire to resolve these conflicts. That is number one. Okay. Number two, it's not a question of guilt blaming. What it is instead is that the recognition that there are two sides of a conflict, and what you're trying to do is to reach a consensus, reach some sort of agreement where both of you can resolve your issues in a way that is mutually agreeable to each party. Also, another thing that's very important, other than not to find guilt, but to actually do an assessment regarding what is the issue or issues at hand. Okay. So these are things that need to be done. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a situation where we tried to resolve a conflict. Unfortunately, we was not successful because these conditions did not exist. I was asked by some individuals and to go with another person to try to resolve an issue regarding an employee and their superiors. Okay. I'm not going to get into the details regarding what happened because it is a private matter. And of course, one thing as delegates, as union reps, we are sworn to secrecy. What I can state is the following. Um, it was communicated to us that there was an issue with one individual. So what we did was we had a meeting of which we call all the parties involved. Okay. Now, the supervisory staff and the deputy director were gracious enough to come in to try to discuss the issues at hand. The problem was with this employee. The employee was extremely reluctant to try to speak with us and requested to speak with someone that did not represent the building. And we had to explain to them that due to the nature of the union representation, it is based on location, location, location. So during the course of the meeting, the employee in question got very belligerent with the supervisory staff, got very belligerent with us. And when I asked to kindly summarize their point of view and not to turn it into a 25-hour marathon, I was called being rude. I was called being condescending. Okay. Unfortunately, we was not able to resolve those issues due to the fact that not all parties involved was willing to do an individual self-assessment regarding the issues and did not come in good faith to try to seek a resolution to the problem. Okay. So unfortunately, there's going to be times when you may not be able to resolve a conflict. But for the most part, people will be able to do so. So what I'm going to do is, unfortunately, I cannot share using my cell phone. Okay. So I came across an article from MindTools website called Conflict Resolution. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the article itself. Just give me a moment. Just have to check on something. Okay. So let me just read to you the article itself. Where there are people, there is conflict. We each have our values, needs, and habits. So it's easy to misunderstand or irritate one another, or worse, to fall into conflict. Left unchecked, conflict can lead to bad decisions and outright disputes, bullying, or harassment. Teamwork breaks down, morale drops, and projects run to a halt. Organization feel they hit with wasted talent, high absenteeism, and increased staff turnovers. Okay, now this has to do with a work environment, but there are many applications which can be applied to any everyday life. Okay. But conflict can be resolved. What's more, it can bring issues to light, strengthen relationships, and spark innovation, so long as you don't try to ignore it. That's the key right there. In this article, we will explore different types of conflict, what causes conflict, and how to reach a positive outcome when you find yourself in conflict with I'm going to say an individual.
To identify the signs of conflict occurring between other people and to help them overcome their conflict with one another. Okay, so let me just read to you. Um, Now, there's two types of conflict. One is personality conflict, and the other one is substantive conflict. Personality conflict or disagreements between individuals. These classes are driven by perpetual emotions such as anger, stress, and frustration. Substantive conflict is tangible and task related, like decisions leaders make, the performance of a team member, or your company's direction. If unaddressed, both can spiral into wider conflicts between teams, department, or businesses, or in this case, families and friends and what have you. Conflict resolution can be defined as the process of identifying, addressing, and resolving disagreements or dispute among I'm to say people in a calm setting, thereby fostering a positive environment. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss what causes conflict. Unclear responsibilities. Some members may feel that they do more work than others or resent those who seem to have fewer responsibilities. Blame and frustration can build due to duplicated work and unfinished tasks. Competition for resources, time, money, materials, equipment, and skill sets are finite resources. Competition for them can lead to conflict. Different interests. People may focus on personal or departmental goals over organization ones, or be held up and frustrated by others who they rely on to do their jobs effectively. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss strategies in trying to deal with conflict resolution. Number one, raise the issue early. Keep quiet on it. Let assessments fester. Equally speaking with other people, first can fuel rumor and misunderstanding. So whether you're battling over the thermostat or feel that you're being micromanaged, be direct and talk with the other party. However, if you are afraid of making that approach or worry that may make the problem worse, speak with another person first. Okay. So that's number two. Manage your emotions. Choose your timing when you talk with someone about conflict. If you're angry, may say something you regret and inflame the situation. Be careful by avoiding the blame game. Remember what I alluded to a few minutes ago, where we need to avoid blaming others, but just trying to articulate what our perspective regarding the conflict. So stay calm, collect yourself, and ask, what is it I want to achieve here? What are the issues I'm having, and what is it that I would like to see? Okay. Number three, show empathy. When you talk with someone about a conflict, you naturally to want to state your own case rather than hear the other side. But when two people do this, the conversation goes in circles. Circles. Instead, invite the other party to describe their position and ask how they think they might resolve the issue and listen with empathy. Putting yourself in the other person's shoes is an essential part of negotiation. This helps you to build mutual respect and understanding and to achieve an outcome that satisfies both parties. Now, as I stated before, uh, the whole purpose of conflict resolution is to try to come up with a consensus regarding a solution where both parties can agree to and accept. Okay. The next thing is practice active listening. Um, and to identify the source of the conflict, you have to really listen, to listen effectively. Okay, and there's certain keys you can use. Paraphrase the other person's point to show that you're listening and really understanding. Look out for nonverbal signals that contradict what they are saying, such as the hesitant tone behind positive words. Bring these out into the open sensitivity to address them together. Use appropriate body language, such as nodding your head to show interest and make it clear that you're following. The next thing you can do is acknowledge criticism. Some of the things that person may to tell you may be difficult to hear, but remember that criticism or constructive feedback is about behaviors and not as you as a person. So keep an open mind and use criticism to help you identify areas to improve, perform better next time, and grow. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be discussing Glazer's three-step strategy for conflict resolution. Conflict management consultants Peter and Susan Glazer recommend a three-step strategy for resolving conflict, and it draws on many of the skills we have looked at above. You can hear the Glazers talking about their model in our interview with them. The steps are: prove that you understand their side, acknowledge that you're part of the problem, try again if the conversation didn't go well. Okay. So one longer. Okay. Let's see. Just give me a moment. So you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to share some key points, and then we're going to pocket. Conflict is common in the workplace. It's also common in home. Also common as far as school and everywhere else. The biggest mistake you can make is do nothing. Unresolved tensions can affect the health and performance of people and organizations. So hone these 5 conflict resolution skills to preempt, manage, and to fix conflicts with others. Number 1, raise the issue early. Don't allow them to fester. Number 2, manage your emotions. Put your feelings in check. Number 3, show empathy. Number 4, practice active listening. And number 5, acknowledge criticism. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pocket here. Now, just give me a moment. Good evening, Irby. Thank you very much for stopping by. You're not going to believe this, but Al Dano Show was at it again on one of his comedy streams that he nearly put in private as soon as the stream was over. But that's why he's called Al Dano Show. Now, what was discussed? Of course, it was in the environment of work, but many of these principles can be applied outside, work, school, home, or other environments. The topic for tonight is conflict resolution. So, I was also sharing an article regarding how to deal with conflict resolution. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share. I'm going to read another article. Unfortunately, I cannot share using my cell phone. Okay. So I came across a website called helpguide.org, and it dealt with conflict resolution skills. Okay. And these are skills that are very important. Because again, as I stated, there's going to be conflicts, there's going to be disagreements, and sometimes those conflicts can be very loud. The key, nevertheless, is to try to find a way to reach decisions that both parties can live with. You know what, Irby? No, they don't. Okay? And look, the, his fake outrage is getting old. It's so old, it's stale. Um, I think the Al No show stated he was a bachelor. I don't know, and I don't care. But look, let's just remain focused on the topic, okay? But now the latest accusation is that Gigi and Multi are actually taking screenshots of L streams for their own nefarious purposes. Give me a freaking break. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is let me just okay. Now I'm gonna define what is conflict. Conflict is a normal part of any healthy relationship. After all, two people cannot be expected to agree on everything all the time. The key is not to fear or try to avoid conflict, but to learn how to resolve them in a healthy way. Obviously, some of these people in these YouTube streets don't know how to do that. Okay. When conflict is mismanaged, it can cause a great harm to a relationship. But when handled in a respectful, positive way, conflict provides an opportunity to strengthen the bond between two people. Whether you experience conflict at home, work, or school, learning these skills can help you resolve differences in a healthy way and build stronger, more rewarding relationships. Okay. Actually, some of the haters could benefit by what I'm talking about, but that makes too much sense. Okay. Now let's talk about what's called conflict 101. A conflict is more than just a disagreement. It is a situation where one or both parties perceive a threat, whether or not the threat is real. Conflict continues to fester when ignored because conflicts involve perceived threats to our well being and survival. They stay with us until we face and resolve them. Okay. We respond to conflicts based on our perceptions of the situation, not necessary to an objective review of the facts. Our perceptions are influenced by our life experiences, culture, values, and beliefs. Conflict triggers strong emotions. If you're uncomfortable with your emotions or able to manage them in times of stress, you won't be able to resolve conflicts successfully. Conflicts are an opportunity for growth. When you're able to resolve conflict in a relationship, it builds trust. You can feel secure knowing your relationship can survive challenges and disagreements. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the causes of conflicts in the relationship. Okay. Now this appears to be more like a relationship, but then again, as I stated before, it can apply in any setting. Conflict arises from differences both large and small. It occurs when other people disagree over their values, motivations, perceptions, ideas, or desires. Sometimes these differences appear trivial, but when a conflict triggers strong feelings, a deep personal need is often at the core of the problem. These needs can range from the need to feel safe and secure or respected and valued to the need for greater closeness and intimacy. Just give me a moment. Think about the opposing needs of a toddler and a parent. The child need is to explore, so venturing to the street or to the cliff edge meets the need. But the parent's need is to protect the child's safety, a need that can only be met by limiting the toddler's exploration. Since the needs are at odds, conflict arises. The need of each party to play an important role in the long-term success of a relationship. That each deserves respect and consideration. In personal relationships, a lack of understanding about different needs can result in distance, arguments, and breakups. In the workplace, different needs can result in broken deals, decreased profits, and lost jobs. Hey, Gigi, thank you very much for stopping by. Uh, Again, it seems like our friend Al, the No Show, was acting up, accusing you of taking screenshots of his chats. Oh boy, some people just do not have a life. Yeah, that's so true. That is so true. And again, I'm sick and tired of his fake outrage. Because mind you, he has issues with you, but yet he still subscribed to your channel, Gigi. I don't see how that makes any sense, but hey ho, whatever. When you recognize conflicting needs and willing to examine them with compassion and understanding, it can lead to a creative problem solving, team building, and stronger relationships. Okay, let's see. So now the question, okay, but okay, you know what? I don't know why he did it, but hey ho. Um, okay? So the question is, how do you respond to conflict? Do you fear conflict or avoid it at all costs? If your perception of conflict comes from painful memories from early childhood or previous unhealthy relationship, you may expect all disagreements to end badly. You may view conflict as demoralizing, humiliating, or something to fear. If your early life experience had left you feeling powerless or out of control, conflict may be even traumatizing to you. If you are afraid of conflict, it can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you enter a conflict situation merely to feel threatened, it's tough to deal with the problem at hand in a healthy way. Instead, it's more likely either shut down or blow up in anger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare. Excuse me. Okay, no problem. If you can, you can. If you don't worry about it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to compare unhealthy responses to conflict compared to healthy responses to conflict. Okay. Now, an unhealthy response to conflict is the inability to recognize and respond to the things that matter in the other person. Now, the healthy response, in contrary, is the capacity to empathize with the other person's viewpoint. Okay. Now, the next unhealthy response to conflict is explosive, very angry, and resentful reactions. The healthy way to deal with conflict is calm, non-defensive, and respectful reactions. Well, you know what? That's why I call him Al the No Show, but you know, whatever. So the next unhealthy way to deal with conflict is the withdrawal of love resulting in rejection, isolation, shaming, and fear of abandonment. The positive response to conflict is a readiness to forgive and forget and move past the conflict without holding resentment or anger. Now, the next unhealthy way to deal with conflict is an inability to compromise or see the other person's side. Now, in contrary, um, the positive way to deal with conflict is the ability to seek compromise and avoid punishing. Okay. And the final negative response to conflict is feeling fearful or avoiding conflict, expecting a bad outcome. Um, on contrary, the positive approach is believe that facing conflict head on is the best thing for both sides. Okay. As I stated before, one key element that's important for conflict resolution is that both parties must have the willingness to resolve those issues. So, conflict triggers strong emotions and can lead to hurt feelings, disappointment, and discomfort when handled in an unhealthy manner. Okay. Let me see. I think that's it. Okay. I think I already read that part. Let's talk about the ability to successfully resolve conflict depends on your ability to do the following. Manage stress quickly while remaining alert and calm. By staying calm, you can accurately read and interpret verbal and nonverbal communication. Control your emotions and behavior. When you are in control of your emotions, you can communicate your needs without threatening, intimidating, or punishing others. Yes, please hit the like button, okay? It doesn't cost you anything and it does help the algorithm. And again, a huge shout out to all my supporters. I have reached now 230 subs. So basically, I gained all the subs that I have lost and then some. Um, so let's continue. Pay attention to the feelings being expressed as well as the spoken words of others. Be aware and respect differences. By avoiding disrespectful words and action, you can almost always resolve a problem faster. So what we're going to do now is we're going to be discussing things that are needed in order to resolve a conflict, and we need to have these core skills. Number one, quick stress relief. The ability to quickly relieve stress in the moment. And number two, emotional awareness. The ability to remain comfortable enough with your emotions to react in constructive ways, even in the midst of a perceived attack. So now let's discuss even further core skill number one. Quick stress relief. Be able to manage and relieve stress in the moment is the key to staying balanced, focused, and in control no matter what challenges you face. You don't know how to stay centered and in control of yourself, you will become overwhelmed in conflict situations and unable to respond in healthy ways. Psychologist Corinne Williams uses a driving analogy to describe The three most common ways people respond when they are overwhelmed by stress. Foot on the gas. An angry or agitated stress response. You're heated, keyed up, overly emotional, and unable to sit still. Foot on the brake. A withdrawal or depressed stress response. You shut down, space but and show very little energy or emotion. Foot on both gas and brake. A tense and frozen stress response. You freeze under pressure and can't do anything. You look paralyzed, but under the surface, you're extremely agitated. So now what we're going to do is we're going to discuss how stress affects conflict resolution. Stress interferes with the ability to resolve conflict by limiting your ability to do the following. Accurately read the other person's body language. Hear what the other person, what someone is really saying. Aware of your own feelings. Be in touch with your own deep rooted needs. And communicate your needs clearly. Okay. So then the next question is stress a problem for you? Excuse me. It's just that all this talking makes me thirsty. So you may be used to feeling stress when you're not even aware you are stressed. Stress may pose a problem in your life if you identify with the following. You often feel tense and tight somewhere in your body. You're not aware of movement in your chest or stomach when you breathe. Conflict absorbs time and attention. So now we're going to be talking about learn how to manage the stress in the moment. One of the most reliable ways to reduce stress is by engaging one or more of your senses. Sight, sound, taste, smell, touch, or through movement. You can squeeze a stress ball, smell a relaxing scent, taste a smoothing cup of tea, or look at a treasure photograph. We all need to respond differently to sensory input, often depending on how we respond to stress. So take some time to find things that are soothing to you. Okay? Now we're going to be talking about emotional awareness. Emotional awareness is the key to understanding yourself and others. If you don't know how or why you feel a certain way, you won't be able to communicate effectively or resolve disagreements. Although knowing your own feeling may sound simple, many people ignore or try to sedate strong emotions like anger, sadness, and fear. Your ability to handle conflict, however, depends on being connected to these feelings. If you are afraid of strong emotions or you insist on finding solutions that are strictly rational, your ability to face and resolve differences will be limited. So, excuse me. Now, what we're going to be discussing is why emotional awareness is a key factor in resolving conflict. Emotional awareness, the consciousness of your moment to moment emotional experience, and the ability to manage all your feelings appropriately, is the basis of communication process that can resolve in conflict. Emotional awareness helps you to understand what really troubling other people, understand yourself, including what's really troubling you, stay motivated until the conflict is resolved, communicate clearly and effectively, interest and influence others. So now we're going to be discussing assessing your level of emotional awareness. The following, okay, so let's deal with what kind of emotional relationship do you have with your emotions? Do you experience feelings that flow, encountering one emotion after another as you experience change from moment to moment? Are your emotions accompanied by physical sensation that you experience in places like your stomach or chest? Do you experience distinct feelings and emotions such as anger, sadness, fear, and joy, which are evident in different facial expressions? Can you experience intense feelings that are strong enough to capture both your attention and that of others? Do you pay attention to your emotions? Do they factor into your decision making? If any of the experiences are unfamiliar, emotions may be turned down or even off. In either case, you need to help developing your emotional awareness. Okay, so now we're going to be discussing um, nonverbal communication and conflict resolution. Good evening, Keisha. Thank you very much for stopping by. Uh, and also want to remind everybody that the link has been pinned should anyone wishes to join the panel. When people are in the middle of conflict, the words they use rarely convey the issues at the heart of the problem. But by paying close attention to the other person's nonverbal signals or body language, such as facial expressions, posture, gesture, and tone of voice, you can better understand what the person is really saying. This will allow you to respond in a way that builds trust and gets to the root of the problem. Okay, I see. Yeah, I can just imagine. Okay, so now let's continue. Your ability to accurately read the person's depend on your emotional awareness. The more aware you are of your emotions, the easier it will be for you to pick up on the wordless clues that reveal what others are feeling. Think about what you're transmitting to others during conflict and what if you say matches your body language. If you say, I'm fine, but clench your teeth and look away, then your body is clearly signaling that anything is but fine. A calm tone of voice, reassuring touch, or an interested facial expression can go a long way in toward relaxing a tense exchange. Yeah. Well, most of us try to avoid conflict. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Let's keep it. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing more tips of managing and resolving conflict. You can ensure the process of managing and resolve conflict positive as possible by sticking to the following guidelines. Listen to what is felt as well as said. When you really listen, you connect more deeply with your own needs and emotions and to those of other people. Listening to also strengthens, informs, and makes it easier for others to hear when it's your turn to speak. Make conflict resolution the priority rather than winning or being right. Maintaining and strengthening the relationship rather than winning the argument should always be your first priority. Be respectful to the other person and their viewpoint. Focus on the present. If you're holding on to grudges based on past conflicts, your ability to see the reality of the current situation will be impaired. Rather than looking to the past and assigning blame, focus on what you can do here and now to resolve the problem. Pick your battles. Conflicts can be draining, so it's important to consider whether the issue is really worth your time and energy. Many of you don't want to just surrender a parking space that you've been circling for 15 minutes. But if there's a dozen empty spots, arguing over a single space isn't worth it. Be willing to forgive. Resolving conflict is impossible if you're unwilling or unable to forgive others. The solution lies in releasing the urge to punish, which can only serve to deplete and drain your life. Know when something, know when to let something go. If you can't come to an agreement, agree to disagree. It takes two people to keep an argument going. If a conflict is going nowhere, you can choose to disengage and move on. Yeah, Al was at it again. Um, and it's all fake outrage because if you go into his platform, you'll see he's still subscribed to GG and Multi. So please spare me the fake outrage. Now, another thing you can do is use humor in conflict resolution. And I see here, well, let me just state for the record that the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the host of the channel. Any attempt to copy the material without the consent of the host of the channel is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your right to your image. Some of the views that people at home may be considered offensive to some viewers. If you don't like the content, you can block the channel. And now we're going to add. Good evening, Gigi.
Hey, Jose, how are you?
Okay. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I've been in and out of your stream because I was getting ready for work or whatever. So what's going on? I heard a little bit of the playback.
Okay, basically,
I missed Al's stream, so I don't know what happened. But
well,
I did take screenshots of his chat. I don't know if you were defending that I didn't, but I definitely did. I don't see
okay.
what's the big deal. Who cares if I took screenshots of his chat? He was over there holding a whole live stream talking shit about me. Who cares?
But you see, the thing is, this is fake outrage, okay? Because if you go into his platform, he still lists being subscribed to you in multis, which is like, spare me the fake outrage.
Well, yeah, I know. I kind of feel bad for him at this point because he really wants to push the sci-fi stuff or whatever, but people don't watch the content. And I even saw when Vanguard was like, "Oh, I shared your stream." He was like, "Oh, I really wish you would have shared my sci-fi or whatever." So he's just doing this because this is the only way people are going over there to even support him, which is why he's making himself like a bigger ass. Those people do not even like you or care about you or your content. And let's be honest, I was sharing Al's writers content on his other channel and all that stuff as well, and none of them have ever shared any of that for him. They only want to listen to him talk shit about me and Multi. Period, point blank.
And and half the stuff he privated. That's why I call him Al the No Show.
Oh gosh. Well, I put my little post up there or whatever just to talk a little shit for shits and giggles, but I really don't give a shit. I don't leave it up for long either. I don't want to promote people for too long, but these people out here have been doing the most. Anthony did his big one out here last week.
Or what did he do? Because I have not been watching this content for weeks.
Anthony went in. I don't know. Everybody's just been fighting. It's just people are just finding more sneakier ways to fight, go live, put it on private, whatever. Nobody really wants it plastered all over their channels, but everybody's definitely been going in. Anthony went up. He went against the MGMs or whatever, and it was just a lot going on last week or whatever. He decided to come for me and Multi as well. Talking about you lost the bag by not. I'm like, what bag did I lose by not working with you? If anything, like you would have lost a bag working with us eventually, maybe not now, but eventually, because the people that you have chose to roll with in this space are not on the fast track to success. Let's just put it that way, to be polite.
Well, look, the
Hi,
fact
Keisha.
that
I'm
look,
sorry, I wasn't looking at the phone. Hey, honey.
hey, Keisha.
Hi, hello. I'm just listening. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just listening. But hi.
Oh, what's going on, honey? What's up with you?
It's hot as fuck in New York. Like, I'm about to go visit
Yeah.
my mom soon in August. I'm looking forward to that. But I'm trying to find out what y'all talking about. Like, I hear a lot going on. So I'm trying to catch up to the tea so I can know what y'all know what to say.
It's actually a slow week, so Al should probably be glad that we're talking about him, right, Jose? Like, you should be happy we're talking about you, Al. But it's been a slow week or whatever. But shit, I like it like that, because people are crazy out here in these YouTube streets.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Hold on. Is this the same person that was trying to come for you like a couple months ago?
Oh, it's been nonstop, but it's just sad because they're just using him or whatever, and either he's just shameless and doesn't care about it, or he's just really that blind to see. I don't know, but it's pretty pathetic.
Well,
Wow,
look,
this is like real gangster. Like YouTube is like the real streets.
but you know what? But you know what? The key is just to work on quality contact on a regular basis. The channels will grow eventually. Look, even with all the crazy problems I have with my Wi-Fi and what have you, I mean, my channel's still popping.
Yeah.
Very true, very true. I
Your
caught you
channel is
streaming the other
popping,
day
Jose.
too. I caught you streaming the other day, Jose. You was on a live and you was like, I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? I caught the replay, but it all worked out though.
Well, you gotta laugh at times when you have these technical difficulties, because what you gonna do? Complain? But
Mhm.
but the whole point of this stream, okay, is regarding conflict resolution. Okay, something that a lot of these people need to learn, because it's like to be going back and forth bickering over stuff that's 5 years old,
Like, we
10
haven't
years
even
old.
been talking about them, Jose. You know, we have not been talking about them people and shit like that. You go there, like, even Future talking about Gigi and Multi hijacked and all this other shit. Literally, chick, you came out of our fucking chat. You're gonna tell me that I hijacked what? You found this space through my channel. The problem is that you don't have no fucking respect for people that actually help pave a way for you and help give you a name in these YouTube streets, honey, because we promoted you and put you on, okay? And nobody has forgotten that. So while you're out here trying to make these little false narratives and shit, like, everybody knows that you're full of shit, everybody knows that you're a liar and you're a manipulator, and just make your content and get over it. All right, you'll never be me. Okay, you're always gonna be you. I'm always gonna be me.
Yeah. So, question: is she still claiming to be the is she still claiming to be the queen and the CEO of the Golden Spear?
I don't know what she's claiming or whatever, but she's just going around and running her mouth about us in chats. We're not even talking about that chick or whatever. Um, People just do the most, I think, for clicks and views. I get it. I've been there, done that. But at this point, like I said in my post, I'm on cruise control. Like, I'm not like super desperate or thirsty. Like, I'm working. I got real life going on. So when YouTube gets to be too stressful for me, or motherfuckers is dragging, or I feel like I'm being cyber bullied or whatever, or I'm cyberbullying, whatever y'all want to call it, I just log off now. I just log the fuck off.
Look, I have my own issues to deal with. So you really think I'm going to be worrying because someone like Al, the No Show, that can't even remember that, still talking about the stream I did 5 weeks ago? I mean, look, for whatever it's worth, it got close to 500 views. Do you know how many streams he's gonna have to string together to get 500 views?
Shots, blah, 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 blah.
Or we said, damn, I'm the only one talking in chat. Is because those people that we are talking about are in the clouds. I got about 10 minutes if any of y'all want to hit the link. Other than that, I mean, Stay in the clouds, stay in the bushes. That's where the
Spice.
snakes
I
hide out
like it.
anyways, in the bushes.
But when everything when everything is said and done, Gigi, they talk about you for the simple fact they fear you.
And they
Point
want
blank.
views and streams and that have their algorithm strokes, so they know what they're doing.
I know. I just don't have the energy to devote to them anymore. So I just come on here and just laugh a little. I might cut up a little on Jose's stream, but really, I don't have the energy for all that nonsense at this point of the game. You know what I mean?
Look,
Exactly.
like I
Like you
said,
don't leveled up so many times, so like you know what to do already. You know what I'm saying? You can ignore them. They're just gonna always do that.
Yeah, absolutely. If I feel like throwing a scrap or two or a crumb, I will, like I did today, you know. So, because unfortunately, that is what YouTube is, though, is like the back and forth, and people want to watch that. So, if I make a post and I'm talking shit about somebody, then they want to go over there and see, well, what is that person saying about her? You know how YouTube goes. So it's all just doing them favors at the end of the day. I feel like, I don't feel like they're really doing me no favor. All they're doing is slandering my reputation. So it's not really much benefit in it for me at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of counterproductive, but still gonna make people want to search your name and look at your stuff. So, I understand it's a negative, but people gonna still be clicking and looking at your stuff. So it's like it's a
Yeah.
negative, but kind of a positive in a way because it's still stroking your algorithm ego.
Because negativity is reinforced on social media. That's why when we all hate 18th letter, we all had our big drama. It's like the most viewed live stream Jose has. You know what I mean?
Chill, not in the Tauruses, not in the Tauruses.
Yeah,
boy,
just want to say shout out to Jose. Thank you for allowing me up. I'll say I apologize for that, Gigi. And if you speak to Multi, let her know I apologize as well.
And I apologize as well because I definitely like all of you guys. I just think that we were literally going like almost 4 hours. I think everybody kind of was at their limit or whatever. So, but I don't like harbor any hard feelings towards anybody.
Same thing as well. Because I'm not one. I don't like drama either. I'm not a
Hmm.
big fan of it. I think we all have a lot of things that we deal with personally, but it's just certain people. Some of these people on here be the same type of people that you'll run into in your personal life. They're just miserable and they want to spread misery to other people.
Exactly. And sometimes there is friction that's what happens when you have panel discussions sometimes, you know what I mean? But like as far as me, I don't like hold grudges or like, serious hatred or anything, except for people that are trying to mess with my real life, obviously. But other than that, this is YouTube stuff. If you're not trying to like harm me in real life, then it's not that serious. You know what I mean?
I agree 100%. I agree
Mhm.
100. But the people that even do that in real life, excuse me, the people that really does that to try to harm people in real life, I'm like, what type of person are you to try to do that? That's pretty sickening.
They come out on YouTube and they want
48-ish.
to fight, but then when they get drugged, they can't handle it. So they want to go to the next level. But you got to be prepared because we all take L's out here on YouTube. Like, you're going to get drugged somewhere. You're going to get thrown off a panel. Something's going to happen. Like, we all take L's. We all take wins. It is
yeah,
what it is.
believe me,
Yup.
I have dealt with my L's as well. I mean, there have been platforms I've been removed. I mean, for no fault of my own. Yeah, but it is what it is. And
Hmm.
look, but I know who I am. I know my content. So, you know, if you don't like my content, there's the door. There's the door. Okay, just go ahead and deal with your mental deficiency elsewhere. Please do not bring it to my cyber home.
I absolutely agree.
Hallelujah.
And if you notice, that's why I like and if you would like to, Gigi, I know Cashel will come over when she gets a chance. But that's why I try to make subjects on my channel, like apart from all of that drama and different things like that, or just subjects that everybody can participate in and give their opinion or their perspective on things. And speaking of that, since we got two women on the panel, I have to ask, what are you all's perspective on Just Hilarious getting canceled by the alphabet community, as far as these I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but the Transformers coming at her. I mean, as far as saying, I never thought I'd see the day when people would say I'm a real woman, and that'd be offensive.
I think when you get canceled, that means you're going to the next level. So she's probably about to come up.
I honestly haven't even seen it. I've been all sucked into the whole Jocelyn fight at the Floyd Mayweather boxing thing. I've been all caught up in that tea.
The what scene?
The Jocelyn Hernandez fight behind
Oh.
the Floyd Mayweather match. That's all over social media. Her acting like a whole doggone like crazy, and I like Jocelyn, so I'm like, what happened? I'm trying to find out what happened that inspired all of that.
I really thought Jocelyn was past a lot of that. I mean, we saw Jocelyn act a fool back in the day on Love and Hip Hop.
He was not past that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that because me and Jocelyn the same age, so when you at 35, 36 years old, out here still trying to fight people when,
Well, she was given the opportunity to get her whole new show and do her own thing, and she literally was on there being abusive to the other women. Like, she was a whole pimp out there, and it's just like, well, you came from that situation, you came from the streets. You would think that you would treat these women with some kindness to try to help them come up in a different way, but instead you're out there acting like a whole pimp yourself.
I legit want to go back and watch the whole season because I never gave the show a second thought, because I thought it was going to be whack. I never gave it any chance, but now that I saw she had a fight with Amber Rose, I feel bad, but I want to go binge watch everything now.
Well, it's a different show. She has like a cabaret show. That's what I mean. And she like treats the girls wild,
And that's the girl that she fought at the Floyd Mayweather thing. Pulled the girl lace front off, her boobies was out and everything.
I don't have much time. I have to go to work, but I just want to say, as far as the Floyd Mayweather or whatever it was you were talking about, the Just Hilarious. I think a lot of women are tired of the BS at this point, being called cisgendered or breeders or feeders or whatever. So I think that she's going to have probably even more support now than even before, because women are going to rally behind her, and probably conservatives as well, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit crazy because we've all heard the term give somebody an inch, they take them out. And I think that's where a lot of things have happened with this situation. I'm all for everybody's having their rights. I'm all for everybody being respected. But when you start trying to, take over other people's spaces that's, assigned to them by birth, and then trying to tell them that, try to literally redefine what a woman is. That's kind of crazy.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, first of all, Gigi, thank you very much for stopping by. Joaquin, the topic is conflict resolution. So basically what I've been doing is I'm just sharing some things that we can do to resolve conflicts, because let's keep it real. We know people in our lives that have issues trying to, in a positive way, to resolve conflicts.
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to conflict resolution, that's part of being an adult.
Yeah.
Best way to avoid conflict, to have conflict resolution, if you're, is just to avoid people. Just kind of end the conversation at where it's at, and just go about your business, because conflict resolution only works on certain people, and it usually works on people that have something to lose, because it's very hard to resolve a conflict with people that don't have anything to lose, because a lot of the times those type of people thrive on conflict. Conflict makes them feel it makes them feel good to a certain extent. A person that's troubled and always involved in drama or altercations and stuff like that, a lot of the times those people have problems that they're fighting within themselves, and that whatever problems that they got going on in their life, that brings them some type of joy, to be honest. So those type of people are very destructive and self-destructive at that. So I advise people that if you have things to lose, or if it's not really worth keeping a relationship with that person, you can end it and just avoid even speaking with that person. That'll be the best way. You'll save yourself a whole lot of time and a peace of mind.
Yeah. And there are going to be times where you're not going to be able to resolve conflicts, because see, in order to have conflict resolution, there has to be a desire from all parties to not to blame the other person and try to reach some sort of a consensus, reach a decision, an agreement which is mutually agreeable. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last part, Jose?
I said that there are times we're not able to reach conflict resolutions because of the fact that not everyone involved is willing to reach a decision or a resolution which is mutually agreeable.
Yeah. I'd just say agree to disagree, and go about your way. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm in the conversation too, although I'm muted. I wanted to say that I feel like I'm really
But
bad when it comes to conflict. I don't really deal with conflict really well. I like to avoid, and avoid is not good at all.
well, unfortunately for me, I don't have that luxury because you see, in our building, unfortunately, I have the reputation where whenever a member has an issue, everyone comes to me to resolve it.
Oh, I mean like personally in life, like not as a union rep. I was just talking about in general, like with people I love, friends, coworkers. Like when it comes to conflict, family, like I hate it. I'm all in my head about it and everything.
Yeah. Look, when you get to be my age, and God willing, both of you will, you have to learn to pick your battles and which hill you're going to die on, which hill you're not going to die on. And then those things where it's not worth your energy, you just don't bother. Today, I just got some bad news, which I suspected I'm going to need surgery.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. Wishing you
Yeah,
a speedy
sorry to hear
recovery and prayers and all of that.
that.
Thank you.
Definitely.
So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go through the whole process of preparing for surgery. This is why I don't have the time and the energy to deal with the mentally and intellectually people here in these YouTube streets and elsewhere, because I need to keep my mind focused on what I need to do to take care of Jose Negron.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As you should.
Very important. Very important.
Yeah,
Well, I think
but
this is a great stream, conflict resolution and how to deal with conflict, because a lot of people, despite their age, do not know. We have a lot of older people with mature minds and younger people with mature minds, and you know, older people with immature minds is what I meant to say. And some people really don't know how to deal with these things.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Kishel. You are absolutely correct. And I think I've learned over time that because I used to, even though I don't like conflict, I can be a confrontational person if I feel like if I'm pushed in that direction. But after I've just come to realize that as time goes on, it's not worth it because when you see how certain people minds develop, you have immature older people, you got immature young people, you got a lot of people that haven't, taken care of their eternal conflicts within themselves. You got people, jealous, envious type of people, pretty much, insecure types of people, and just people that likes drama and that are conniving. And I've learned over time that I'm like, it's best that I, just try to stay away from those type of people as much as possible. The second that you spot the red flags in people, I used to try to give people the benefit of a doubt or give them a chance, but now I'm just like, no. I'd rather, like I said, you keep your peace of mind, and you try to avoid that as much as possible.
yeah,
I'm definitely to give the person the benefit of the doubt, to the point where I give the person the benefit of the doubt too much. But sometimes when it comes to like personal family conflict, you gotta just know like this person is this way, this person is that way. You gotta go into it expecting anything to happen and not being shocked that certain things happen.
I agree.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Well, look, I mean, you have to be able to discern um, when
you're able to resolve conflicts and just discern when just to walk away, because not everyone is at that stage when they want to resolve conflicts. I mean, we seen it not just here in social media, but in our personal lives as well. I mean, let me just give you a case in point. Yesterday, me and another union rep was trying to resolve a conflict with a member with their supervisory staff, and unfortunately, we were not able to resolve the issue because not everyone was willing to try to come up with some sort of a solution. And in fact, I was accused of being rude. I was accused of being um, unprofessional. Those people who know me know how I function. So of course, I did not take it personally. I just take it, that's how people deal with their situations. Not everyone can deal with it in a positive light, and I recognize that. So I did not take it personally. And as union reps, we cannot afford to do so.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of people, a lot of young-minded people, you know, the 20-year-olds, the young people, they feel like fighting, putting their hands and feet on someone is the answer to conflict, but it's not, because the behavior continues. So, you know, putting your hands and feet and wanting to, shake somebody like chicken bacon syndrome is not the answer, although it may feel good in the moment to some people, but that's not the
Yeah,
answer to conflict.
yeah. And one thing we have to bear in mind is that just because a person is advanced in age doesn't necessarily mean that they're wise. I mean, you can have wisdom can come from young people as young as children, or even millennials or Gen Z people. I mean, because unfortunately, some people tend to have a negative light regarding Gen Z and millennials. I mean, they have to deal with a lot of stuff that us baby boomers didn't have to deal with.
Like real quick, I was watching this movie called I, Robot with Will Smith, and in the movie, Will Smith called this lady the smartest, dumbest person in the world, and I thought that was so ironic and so funny because she's smart, because she's a scientist, but she was kind of dumb when it came to like some kind of realistic situations. And you know, that's a conflict right there, because someone that get offended, like, what? I have degrees, I'm educated, I'm not dumb. But there is a such thing as being street dumb and book smart, and that can
Yes,
lead to conflict.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And sometimes being street smart trumps being book smart.
yeah.
Being
Now,
street
Often being street smart trumps being book smart, very often, to the point where people don't want 1 degree, don't want to go to school, because if you street smart, you learn everything school won't teach you, is how some people may say.
yeah.
yeah. Um, Keisha, I just saw you earlier tonight speaking about that you think about moving out of New York.
Forever, for years, I've been thinking about it, but not really putting no real actions. I've just been talking. I haven't been putting no real actions in place.
Okay, well, look, let's keep it real. I mean, there's a lot of challenges living in New York. I mean, not just as far as the high rent, but the crime and what have you. And now with everything else is going on, with the migrants, refugees, or whatever you want to call these people, uh, you know, it's a challenge. It's an everyday challenge.
Absolutely. Like, New York is home. I've never lived in another state outside of New York. I lived in different boroughs and everything like that, but it's just unrealistic here. You know, you can have all these degrees, you can have all this, experience. You know, you can have two people in a household making great money and still struggle. Both people in a household can have great jobs and side hustles and still struggle. Like, it just really does no value for the middle class population, the people who are actually taxpayers, who actually work. like really see nothing, you know. And it's like I'm 41. I know I look young, whatever the case is, or that's what I want to say anyway. But I want to get to the point in my life where I see my money working for me, and I don't see my money working for me in New York City for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
I definitely understand. New York is a far cry today from what it was in the 90s and the 80s. At that particular time, that was the old New York, and really the middle class and the blue collars made up New York City. Now that has long, that's starting to dissipate. The more and more the rent becomes, um, the more and more they increase the rent, the more and more gentrification sets in Harlem and the Bronx and Brooklyn, different boroughs all over. It becomes very difficult. I'm seeing a similar situation here in Illinois because the rent, though it's not as expensive as New York, is starting to skyrocket, and the Illinois state tax is a monster, similar to New York. And for a lot of people, is they're moving out, to Indiana or Wisconsin or Iowa, some even relocating back down south.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And my mom lives in Georgia, and she's pretty much telling me like everyone from New York and like up north is moving to Georgia to the point where Georgia looks like another little mini New York, and people call it the Black Mecca. And she doesn't really agree on that, whatever the case is. But long story short, she's saying that it's becoming overcrowded and overpopulated, and the rent is skyrocketing up down there completely to the point where she's thinking about relocating to Texas at this point. So it's like, we all want to, like, I mean, I want to do so much that I feel like I can never do in New York because it's just so expensive. Like, I want to plant my own fruits and vegetables and plants and stuff like that. I feel like I'll never be able to do that here, no matter how hard I work.
Absolutely, you definitely make a point with that as well, Cashel. You definitely make a point, and because I can definitely understand when you've grown up in New York your whole life. Because when I think of New York, I think of hip hop. I think of all of the great movies that was filmed in New York. 106 in Park. That New York is long gone now compared to what it used to be, and they make it they make it extremely difficult to be able to have something of value in New York as a working class person. Like you said, you would like to plant your own vegetables and own fruits. And I think the only borough you can even do that in New York at this particular point is Queens, but that's even gotten super super duper expensive as well. At least even in the more working class area of Queens.
Well, let's keep it real. I mean, one of the reasons why I bought my condo is because if I'm going to be paying close to $2,000 a month of rent or whatever, I might as well own the apartment itself. But even still, it's getting to the point where it's owning a home in New York is almost out of the reach of a lot of people. I mean, look,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. I mean, a house in New York, you're talking about maybe 700,000 or 800,000. And if you're talking about a condo or a co-op, I mean, that can easily be 300,000 and change, depending where you want to live. I
That's
mean,
not even stripper money. Strippers never getting that kind of money. You see what I mean? It was crazy.
look, the reason why I picked the Bronx, because let's keep it real. Brooklyn was too expensive. Queens was too expensive. Manhattan is uber duper expensive. Staten Island is too far and getting expensive. So the one area that was left, where you kind of could afford property, is the Bronx, and even then, it's getting to the point when it's getting to be too expensive in the Bronx now.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the crazy thing is because I remember as a kid when I was growing up when my grandmother was telling me she was like, yeah, they're gonna they're going to eventually tear down the projects. And I was like, what? No, they won't. I can remember driving on the expressway in my city and going by White Sox Stadium, and you'll see project buildings, just like in New York, same high rises and everything. And visiting, my family was originally from Cabrini Green on the north side before they migrated to the south side. So I used to go to Cabrini Green a lot, especially as a kid. And I remember when my grandmother told me the property value is too the property value is going to be worth more. They're going to tear down those projects because this is a 10-minute walk from downtown. And when you're a kid, you don't even realize it. But the more and more I think about it, whenever they showed them films that was filmed here, when they showed Cabrini Green, especially if you just look at Candyman, you can see the whole downtown from the project buildings, like the Sears Tower, the John Hancock building, all of that. You see it right there from the project buildings. And sure enough, that's what they did. I went to go visit when they tore down the last for the Cabrini Green, farewell, when they tore down the last buildings, back in 2007, 2008. And ever since then they built condominiums where those housing projects were, and building condominiums all over through the city. Even the area that's on the west side, Pilsen, the Pilsen area, which was a strong Mexican American area, has been gentrified, where it's more, and the way that they do it, the strategy is how they do it is that they bring in all the 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 uh the the eclectic artsy type of young people, and then the hipsters and stuff like that, and they turn it into that area first, and then and then as time goes on, they start bringing in the more white collar type of people. So
Yeah.
And for me, Jose, you got a condo. That's good. Like I don't have a condo. Like I'm definitely living in the low income area, housing, and it's just like you don't get what you're paying for. Like everyone in my development, either pays no rent or low rent, and I pay a higher rent, almost 2,000 a month. Not far from 2,000 a month. And the more I make, the more my rent goes up, and my living conditions don't change. And it's just really not worth it. And for me to get a lottery apartment, it's like really rare and skim. And for me to get a regular apartment, it's going to be impossible. I would not, even with two incomes, I would not be able to afford it with all the necessities, got, cable, transportation, all the expenses. It just would be too much. It's sad, even though you're a citizen here, born here, raised here, live here, you don't get no kind of like, seniority or no just by for being a born and raised citizen of New York. Like, the rent is just overly expensive. You can work two, three jobs and still be living paycheck to paycheck with a hustle or without a hustle. It just
Yeah.
really, so it's just going, even congestion pricing is coming, the MTA is going up again, like, but the pay is not going up the way all these other things are going up around the cities. Like, who do they think work? Look here, billionaires. Billionaires don't live in New York City. Not the majority of them. Not the people who are paying tax dollars and rent. We are low to middle income people, like paycheck to paycheck. Which is why we all have hustles. Every New Yorker has a hustle because no one can just work a 9 to 5 and just pay all the bills, live a lifestyle, go out to eat dinner, and buy clothes for the kids for school and supplies and food for the house and pay cable and cell phones. No New Yorker who is in lower middle income area can, range in salary is living that lifestyle.
Yeah. Uh, let's just walk in down the mountain, but let me just state the following. We have municipal employees living in shelters. Okay. We have members of our local in shelters. Now, allow that to sink in. Think about it. And we're talking about people making 40,000 a year and then some, but yet they're living in shelters. That's disgusting. Good evening, Don Armando.
Good
Good
evening,
evening.
Don. And,
Hey,
and,
good
and
evening
I,
to everybody in the paddle. Shout out to Rakim. Shout
I
out to
want
you,
to
Don Jose.
Thank you.
All right, so therefore, this is why I had a
you ain't gonna
perfect
shout me
solution.
out. You gonna say hi to everybody, but not me.
Oh yeah, of course. I got you. I
Oh,
got you,
okay,
Kaisha.
okay.
Don Armando, be careful because Keisha is Rakeem's YouTube wife.
I
absolutely,
know.
absolutely. We can't hear
So
you, Don.
the 18th letter. You know what I mean?
What you say, Don? We couldn't hear you.
Oh, I was saying shout out to Kaisha. All right. I don't know what's wrong, so let me check.
It's all right. So I was just gonna say, man, with y'all being native New Yorkers, it's sad that New York is no longer the New York that I wanted to visit. Because, man, I was gonna come visit New York with my army fatigue on, my Yankees cap, my 40 below Timberlands. That was the New York I wanted to see, man. I was about to come fresh out of JFK dressed like Belly.
Nah,
Yeah.
this shit is diversified now.
That's crazy, man. I was gonna give me a little Nation of Gods on Earth chain. I was gonna hit Brooklyn, hit Harlem, hit the South Bronx. Be like, peace, God, peace, God. That New York ain't
Mm-mm.
around no
It don't
more.
look like juice no more. It don't look like juice no more. Mm-mm.
Oh man, that's the New York I wanted to see. Well, I can always come and take pictures at the murals. Go to the Biggie mural in Brooklyn. Go to the Nas mural in Queensbridge. Go to the Big L mural in Harlem.
Yeah. So, Don Armando, the topic for tonight is conflict resolution, which is something that intelligent people are able to do, and less intelligent people have problems with. What are your thoughts?
Well, I fall within the latter, so therefore, I I had my conflict resolution part of doing anything like that. And I guess as far as certain people here in Philadelphia, conflict resolution is not the most intelligent way that you have to do it. You have to do it the other side of the way. And I could actually see that when I did it the other type of way, I got more respect than me trying to convey, to convey it intelligently. So therefore, I had to go the low way. I'm. I don't want to go the low way, but it looked like that my environment, that my work environment, when it comes to conflict resolution, it just needed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, the fact of the matter is this. Most of the time, if there's a conflict and both parties are willing to resolve it in a way that's mutually agreeable, the conflict is going to be resolved.
When talking about mature adults, yes, but when not talking about mature adults or people that's in their feelings or extra sensitive, no.
Yeah, well, I have a couple of names for these people. Last year, I referred to them as the mentally and intellectually challenged. Denise referred to them as the slow taps. This year, I also referred to them as the circus because they all act like a bunch of clowns. Unfortunately, it's becoming like a five-ring circus with all the unique characters acting foolishly.
I got a name for them too, Don Jose.
Yes.
Yeah, I call them farts in the wind. So therefore, they could act all this stuff and everything like that, but guess what? All their shenanigans is gonna be nothing, because what happens to a fart in the wind? It doesn't become that potent. Is
Mhm.
is the truth.
I just realized why y'all be saying those different names on YouTube, like, as far as farts in the wind and slow taps. I just realized like a week ago why I was saying that, because I realized my mouth be a little bit potty sometimes, and I'm like, oh, so this is why people on YouTube don't actually say the word. They make up words and they just use that word, and people in their community know what that word means, so they're not flagged on YouTube. I'm like, oh, so slow, but I just got that like a week ago.
Got you.
Yep, like alphabet people. People know who we
Yes, like
or
alphabet people. That means something.
or
Yeah.
or my favorite, the Chia Pet people.
Oh man, I don't even know who that is, Don.
We all know who it
I
is,
think,
but we ain't gonna say nothing.
Okay.
I think he's referring to some of the people that there have been conflicts with. We're not going to mention their names here.
Yeah, certain colors, we'll say, and that's it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, and that's why, because YouTube, guys, it has become like the virtual the virtual streets now. And I've been in some places where all people do is fight and argue. And that's why I like to treat my channel like a get together where we all come. We're all, talking about a serious subject matter or a light subject matter. And, we got the lawn chairs out and everybody's eating barbecue and having a good time. And we can have friendly debates or, heated debates, but not heated with the intentions on, going against each other, everything like that. Because YouTube is like some of them back alleys in the South Bronx that you do not want to walk down.
I mean,
I could listen to your channel and start
I mean,
cleaning
yeah.
my house.
You say what, Kashel?
I could listen to your channel and start cleaning my house, sweeping, mopping, dusting, windows, everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's all.
I mean, I could actually say that I like your channel, Rakim. I just went up and I just did a stream just not too long ago, just like maybe a few minutes ago. So it was
You did
actually
the
one of
stream
my
on your channel, Don.
yeah.
I
It
wish
was just
man, I don't know why I didn't get the notification. I would have came over there.
yeah, because we were talking. It was like my subject was talking about the recent happenings in Philly, as you know. Um, a celebrity lost his son due to an unalivement situation.
Yeah,
So
guns out.
yeah. So
I was
with
going to
that
ask you,
with that said,
not to cut you off. I just wanted to ask you something really quickly. With you being a New Yorker in Philly, do you run past a lot of New Yorkers in Philly?
yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to ask.
It's like I even run to some of my friends that been in New York. They're like, yo, what you doing? I was like, I live here. But it's not like to the point that, okay, you could come to my crib and like that, because at the end of the day, I like to keep my home life and my street life separate.
How's the economy in Philly? Is it expensive to live out there?
But
What's the
that's just
job
me,
market
though.
like?
You said how's the
How you
how's
make
How's the
it? You know what I'm
economy in
saying?
Philly? Like, how's
It's just that
the job market,
right
the
now,
housing
the
market? Is it
fentanyl
expensive?
crisis is actually market is good. I'm saying I think it's good because okay, I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put this out there. As of recently, I became a homeowner.
shout out to you, Don.
Congratulations.
Yeah, shout out to you.
You're welcome. So with that said,
You mean thank you.
thank you. Thank you. I'm like, with that said, I want to try to say is that if you were to actually, get real estate, I'll say get real estate in Pennsylvania. That's what every New Yorker is doing, and they're just taking the train to work. And I'm talking about Amtrak.
Okay. I'm looking for real. Like, I'm tired of this shit. Sorry, Jose.
Yeah, I mean, At the end of
And I
the
just
day, if you would look at it,
I'll go ahead, Don. I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, I'm just laughing at Herbie saying like you sounding like Sylvester Stallone when you say yo. I was like, yeah, I watch a lot of Rocky movies.
No, but I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, just know, Kishel, you're not alone with that situation. I'm finding a lot of people that are tired of being in the big cities because it's becoming too expensive to live. Not just New York, but even here in Chicago, there's a lot of people that's like, I can't make it anymore. Like me personally, I live on the outskirts. I'm half an hour away from the city, so it's changing as well. Like it's changing a lot. It's not the old Chicago that I knew no more. Kind of similar to New York. A lot of things have changed, and gentrification is kicking in. I knew it was something. I was living in South Shore, and I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way because white folks, we got a lot of love for y'all, good white people. But when I started seeing a white guy jogging over in the area I was living, I was like, man, I know this area getting gentrified now. I was like, I ain't never seen that. Yeah, you in the wrong shore, sir. You're supposed to be in North Shore. This is the South Side.
Nah, not for nothing. When I was in the Bronx and everything like that, just not too long ago, and Jose could actually vouch for this and everything. There was a time that you saw a certain community not in Parkchester. Now that community took over. You might have to actually learn. You might actually have to learn another language just to communicate with some of these people.
Yeah,
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, we have quite a few people from Southeast Asia living in Parkchester. Of course, we have some members of
Exactly.
the African American community.
Yep.
We also have a couple of Dominicans living here as well. So it's a little bit of everything.
Melting
Yeah,
blending pot.
but but I could say the Southeast Asians, they took over. I'll give it up to them. I'm gonna give you the narrative. When I was, the guy in the street, we used to go and argue with the storekeepers or whatever because we were teenagers and we were looking at were supposed to have to look at or whatever. We got into a stupid argument, right? It was when I was 20. Me and these people, we just actually started respecting each other. So one day, me and my boy, we always used to go around and argue and everything like that. I was like, I was like to my homie, let's go to that store. It's like, man, Mario, not again. Well, hey, I said my real name. Who cares? Anyway, there was like, man, not again. So I went up to the store and everything. The next thing you know, all the guys respected me. And then my boy, who was living in Florida at the time, was like, yo, how the heck that happened? I was like, over time, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. That's like when I was like, apart from Cabrini Green being gentrified, when I used to go, I've been going into Humboldt Park ever since I was a kid. Humboldt Park, which is predominantly Boricua. That is the one of the most official recognized neighborhoods of Puerto Ricans, not just in my city, but in the United States. And as a kid, you don't pay any attention because when you a kid, you're just a kid. But it was definitely one of the most dangerous neighborhoods within the city of Chicago. So when I would go up there to go visit one of my favorite Puerto Rican restaurants, La Bomba, I would walk over on yep. So I would walk over off of California, off of California street which is where the Puerto Rican flags are. And I knew that it was being gentrified because then I started seeing like I said, no disrespect to the other people, but I started seeing white people walking their dogs in Humboldt Park. And
in that joint.
I was like, man, back in the day, you couldn't pay. What you say, Don? We couldn't hear you. Your microphone's breaking up. But I was like, man, back in the day, you couldn't pay white people to walk no dogs in this park.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different now. I mean, much respect to it, I mean, it's not a horrible thing, but it's just becoming like way too unaffordable to like home no more.
Excuse me. Let us just welcome the newest member of the Golden Spear, who wants to be buried in snow. The introvert Boricua.
No, sir. No, sir. Let me.
Shout out to my boy Ramon.
What's going on, Don Jose, Kishel,
Hey,
Joaquin,
Ramon.
Armando? How you guys doing?
Okay.
All right.
All right. All right.
The topic for tonight is conflict resolution.
Okay, so you haven't that. I almost didn't join because I thought that you were doing a rebroadcast. I almost didn't.
I thought so too.
No.
Yeah, you've been catching me with that whole day, that rebroadcast. I'd be like, hold on, is this live?
Yeah, you have to put kind of like make sure that you put it in the title.
I'm gonna have to do that. Yeah.
Because I seen an old episode. I was like, okay, Don Jose. I mean, like me personally,
familiar. Yeah.
I feel like when we was all growing up and watching television, like this a rerun.
Oh, the whole gang is back together. I'm happy here.
But when I saw the title, the first thing that I was like, okay, who's beefing now? What's wrong with y'all? Who the hell is beefing now?
Gigi was here earlier. It's been great times, Ramon. You missed it.
Oh wow, Gigi, I miss her. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, me personally, it's very apparent who I beef with. I don't really care to say it, but I'm not gonna say it because at the end of the day, they don't matter. With that being said, I think I'm gonna be honest. I suck at conflict resolution, and when it comes to conflict resolution, okay, the areas I don't suck at it is like maybe if I have more respect for the person, but if I have little to no respect for you, and there's a conflict, what makes you think that the conflict is going to be resolved if I don't respect you in the first place?
Feel you on that.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. I mean, you only bother to resolve a conflict with people that you actually give a damn about. If you're having a conflict with somebody that you don't give a damn about, then they can die for all you care. I know that's how I look at it. I mean, it has to be somebody who's family, somebody who is actually of any importance in my life. Though it's only for somebody who is of any importance in my life that I will be bothered with trying to resolve a conflict. I mean, if it's somebody that I don't give a damn about, they can drop dead for all I care.
Yeah,
unless it's a work thing, but work thing is different though. At work, we gotta figure it out though.
Not really. Like for example, Kaichel, there's a person like in my job, right? And me personally, I found out that he's an SO. So when I found out that he's an SO and he was acting all funny, I don't want to have. I went up and I stopped talking to that person. I believe he's a jerk.
I'm gonna need the acronyms in a private chat because I don't know what SO is. I'm sorry.
Are they an SO?
Oh, okay, I got it. So a slow movement. Got it. Never mind. Got it.
Oh, okay. Now I get it.
Yeah. So with that said, the SO, right, was was mad one day at me because I had some pizza, right? And Kaicho, you might have known the person you might know the person that I'm talking about because he actually been on my panel a few times. He hasn't been recently, but shout out to him. So my homie John, right? I went up and I had some pizza for him and everything like that. And the SO was like, "Oh, can I have a piece?" I was like, "Well, I'm waiting for my homie because he's hungry, and I got some pizza for him. I was not gonna go and give a whole slice to a whole person when my friend was hungry. You know what I'm saying?"
Mhm.
So he got angry and everything like that. And it was like around that time I found out that he was a SO. So with that said, he stopped talking to me. I stopped talking to him. And it was to the point that I don't really care to even talk to this guy, have conflict resolutions or anything like that. I know he might be of a higher ranking or stuff. I walk past this guy whenever he try to act like he's holding the door. I walk right past him. I don't even say sup or anything like that because I devalue him as a person. I'm gonna be honest.
Well,
I got
somebody
I
who
got
is
a
in
I
a
got a
registry like that, you don't want to be talking to anyway.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, because I just realized what an SO was. But I just realized that I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, me. So I
So
was mad slow with it. I was like, oh, okay, never mind, never mind. I was saying
I
forward
actually
it.
knew this guy, guys. I actually knew this dude when I worked at the Home Depot warehouse, and he was a cool guy, man. Like he was a real cool dude. Go to show you, people are never what you who some people can never be who you think they are sometimes. And I used to chop it up with this dude a lot, man. And then I remember one day, like I just seen the dude grab his coat and he like ran out of the building. And about a half an hour to 45 minutes, police had showed up at the
No,
warehouse. And it turns out this dude was working there under a false identity, and he was
no.
actually on a run from dealing drugs in, I think it was either California, I think it was Northern California.
Whoa.
And I was just like, man, what? He was involved in a big drug ring and everything. He had been on the run. And he had ran and changed his identity and found his way in Joliet, Illinois. So his
God,
name that we was calling him wasn't even his real name. Well, we
damn.
never seen him. I don't know if
Yeah.
they called him or what, but I was like, man, that's crazy.
I
I didn't
mean,
know that they still try to do the whole fake identity thing because of
not
technology. It's so much easier to be able to really identify that person because of the devices that they carry and all. I didn't know that people
now.
try to use fake identity. Mhm,
I'm gonna say something right there on Ramon. All right.
mhm.
You know who are like the most successful um people of my tribe? Now I'm not talking. Now I'm not talking about my people as far as the Dominicans. I'm talking
Mhm.
about my criminals. So therefore, you know who are like the most successful criminals?
Uh-huh. Who are
The
they?
most successful criminals are the ones that you would think that they're you would think that they just whatever stereotypical thing America has for them, right?
Hmm.
But yet they could go and do whatever, get into a beef or whatsoever. They will not look like what you would think in your mind what a gang member is supposed to look like, right? They do what they do to get into a fight. They catch something, they unalive people, whatever, and then they could actually go work in a job within their community, and nobody will be none the wiser.
Yeah, yeah. Well, those are the ones that can do the chameleon effect and actually can blend into the society around them. They don't go around just all the way rah rah drama drama violence violence and and that has to be what's going on around them all the time. There are people that will actually do something on the side that may be illicit, but they also hold on a job and maybe
Yeah.
even have a family or something like that, but they do something illicit on the side for the extra cash. So yeah, that can happen.
Excuse me. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to take closing remarks. Is there anyone that would be willing to have a brief discussion in the backstage after the stream?
Well, since I came in so late, yeah, I guess I can hang out for a few.
I'll stick around for a little bit.
Okay.
I'll stick
So-
around too.
Okay, so now we're going to go take closing remarks. So we're going to start with the person who enjoys the slightly chilly weather of
Oh.
Chicago in the wintertime, who dreams of going outside when it's 25 degrees below zero,
Mhm.
who loves to
Yeah.
swim in the river when it's cold,
Nah,
who
nah.
wants to be a part of the
Hypothermia.
cold sphere, the
Hypothermia.
18th
I don't
ladder.
enjoy you with that, Jose. I don't
Nobody
enjoy
does. Nobody enjoys that shit. And maybe
If anything, I hate
maybe some maybe a Russian go swimming with a bear or something. But come on.
Yeah, speaking of that, I can remember when we used to be outside shoveling snow, me and my friend, and it was like I think like 15 degrees outside. Our hands was freezing, and we shoveled this one guy's front and back for snow, and he only gave us $10, $5 each. My friend was like, "Oh hell no, dude! You're gonna give us more than that? I'm going into hypothermia shock out here." And then,
Nah. You want to know something which is messed up? How is it that my sister, right? She went to college, I guess, with her friend, like up in somewhere in Ohio, right? And she used to tell me and my mom stories that they're freezing and everything like that, and most of the people were wearing shorts like it was nothing in 15-degree weather.
I've seen people do that here. I've
Well,
seen
yeah,
people,
Yeah, but let's keep it real. 15 degrees is like light winter.
Yeah, for you. Yeah. No, I've seen these guys that they will be out jogging in 30-degree weather. I mean, I've
yeah.
seen it out here, and I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I wouldn't
Yeah.
dare because at those temperatures, my hands are already. If they're exposed, my hands are already hurting. When it's
Absolutely.
like 33 degrees, and I see guys in shorts jogging in that temperature.
I remember back in the day when I would shovel snow. This was like the late 90s. And one time I made like $60 shoveling what was it, like about 8 houses or so. And my hands, I couldn't even feel them. But I had the idea, which I shouldn't have done, was to run my hands under some hot water. Bad mistake. That felt like pins and needles on my hands.
Yeah. Yeah, you have
But-
to do that gradually. I mean,
Yeah.
put your hands near something warm and gradually warm them up. But all of a sudden, putting hot water on your cold ass hands, no,
Yeah.
it's not gonna feel too good.
No, that
Yeah.
was a bad mistake. And I took that $60 and I think I blew it in 4 days buying junk food and watching WWF.
Oh my goodness. So, Joaquin, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts is I'm gonna have to agree with what my boy Ramon said earlier. It's just certain people or she's out to make everybody miserable. And if I really don't have any love for you, I don't care what happens to you. I really don't. As far as Ramon said, that may be harsh, but I feel the same way, and I think a lot of people do. Because there's just certain people you just they're a bad person and they had it coming. But other than that, yeah, it's best to try to resolve as much conflict as possible and protect your energy and protect your peace. We're all at an age where we don't feel like dealing with drama or dealing with people that lack any type of emotional self-control, where they're just going to fly off the handle because they're not, going well in their life. So That's all I got to say. And shout out to you, Irby.
Yeah.
Shout out to Irby.
Good night, Irby. And I just want to acknowledge that Molonto Vanguard is in the chat. Good evening, sir. So thank you
Good
very much.
evening, Mulatto Vanguard.
How you doing
So-
today?
Yeah, so thank you very much, Joaquin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in the backstage. Okay. So now we're going to go to Don Armando and his final thoughts.
This is my final thoughts. Conflict resolution is good in business. But if it's a nefarious individual or somebody that's trying to come after your family or your peace or your energy, I don't see the reason to actually resolve anything. Because if I don't respect you, there's a lot of people in these YouTube streets that I do not respect, especially one that actually called me a monoracial. I don't respect that person. And there's several other swarthy individuals I do not respect because they talk lies on my name. So, with that said, I don't feel like actually having a conflict resolution with these individuals because I actually believe that they're stupid. And that's all I got to say.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Don Armando. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in the backstage. Thank you very much for stopping by. And now we're going to have the lover of gold, who think Orchard Beach is the most beautiful beach in the world.
Hell no.
The water is so blue that you might be able to be tempted to drink all of it.
Yeah, that's because you saw that fake TikTok video in which they stitched it. I mean, they stitched kind of like getting to Orchard Beach with images of crash boat. I mean, that's like the biggest lie I have ever seen. But continue.
Who wants to go to Times Square to watch the ball drop on New Year's Eve in chancletas and shorts? Who wants to run around naked in the city of Albany in wintertime when the temperature reaches below zero? Who does not think we have a rat problem here in New York, that thinks Rochester is like heaven? Who wants to roll along in the snow? The Intra Boricua!
Está buena esa. Nah, but I mean, yeah, Jose, I know. I came in late. It's just that at first I thought that maybe you were doing a rebroadcast, so I didn't try to call in earlier. But still, appreciate you letting me be on your panel. And yeah. I mean, when it comes to things about conflict resolution, it all depends on who and who are you referring to. If it is a person that is actually worth going through the trouble of trying to resolve a conflict with them. Now, thankfully, I don't have those issues at work because I can say that I do work with people that are fairly professional. It wasn't always like that for me because I know I have been in a couple of workplaces where people were not that professional and they could be a little difficult to deal with, especially when it comes to those that can have a bit of a position of power. And as we all know, people that get into some power, they're very much ready to abuse it. So I have seen it, but thankfully at my current job, I don't really have to deal with that. So we're more kind of like working, see each other more eye to eye, which is something that I can appreciate about it. And even with the people that are superior to me, they know that that I'm a helping hand in them being able to do their job. So that creates more of a respect and more of a trust in between peoples, even though we're having different levels in positions, right? I mean, somebody who is a supervisor is more kind of like more friendly, more seeing you eye to eye because we need each other. And the person may not know certain things that I do know, and vice versa. So we help each other. So that's basically what it comes down to it. When it comes to the workplace and in the real life, I don't really get into beef with anybody. I mean, me being a man, I have to be more conscious of that. I can't just uh, uh, have a problem with somebody and start cussing and yelling at them because something bad can happen to me. This is something that we as men understand, and many younger women don't understand because they used to getting their way with everything and say whatever it is that they come to mind, and they don't care about civility. They don't care about anything about giving respect. They demand the respect, but they're not willing to give it, and that's something that it can be an issue. It can be problematic, and when it comes to conflict resolution, that depends on, at least for me, it depends more on the other person because I hate conflict, I hate drama, I hate arguing, fighting with somebody. So if the other person is unwilling to work things out, don't try. Don't try. Let them be on their way and let them do whatever they want to get self-destructive. That's gonna be entirely their fault. So with that said, Don Jose, appreciate you letting me be on your panel, and I guess I can hang out for a few while you close up.
Okay, well, thank you very much for stopping by. So now I'm going to put you in the backstage. So now I'm going to give you my final thoughts. The whole topic was on conflict resolution. Well, most mature people do try to resolve issues. There are times when it's not going to be possible, and we're just going to have to learn that there's certain people that we're never going to resolve get a resolution with a conflict with certain people, and just learn to live with that. And it's just all a matter of knowing when to get involved in conflict resolution and when just to walk away. I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone that's on the chat. I also want to give a huge shout out to everyone that appeared on the panel: Gigi, Ramon, Joaquin, Keisha, and Donna Mondo. I may do a stream Saturday night between 11 or 10:30, which will be just open discussion. So sorry, there's a few things that I have on my mind that I'm going to be discussing. So what I'm going to ask, if you have not done so, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I produce content, you have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So with that being said, let's all be good to each other, okay? And thank you very much for allowing me to come into your devices. So this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Wishing all of you a very pleasant good night. Take care and peace.
Be strong.